So today on the first episode of the Digital Roast, we're going to look at artificial intelligence or AI. It's a productivity tool to help us be more efficient, to save time. And today we're going to roast Sam Haugh, business consultant here at Focus Technology Group. Sam's been in the industry a long time and is a specialist in everything 365, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, but also around AI. So we're going to roast Sam today around how do we use artificial intelligence or AI to make us more productive, make us more efficient, and get back some of the time and hours that we just don't have in our day. So without further ado, I'm Brendon McDermott, and this is the first edition of the Digital Roast. And Sam, welcome to the first edition.
Thanks.
I don't know about you, but even choosing what to wear today was probably the most nerve-wracking thing. Yeah. So we're going to talk about AI, and we know for businesses it's a big thing. It's been talked about. We started with the internet, and then it was sort of social media. Now we've got AI.
Yeah.
What is AI? Tell
Yeah.
us in a shorter sentence.
So AI can help you with your tasks in your business.
Yeah.
It can help you answer questions. It can help you generate content. It's a large language model that will go out and try its best to answer your question by using web resources or even resources within your company.
So how does it change from how we do things, well, how I do things today, which is, getting into Google, writing a search. There's
Yeah.
this thing called prompting now. What Tell us
Yeah.
about prompting versus searching in
Yeah.
Google.
So prompting is how you frame your question to the AI tool. So it's think of it as a person that you're working with, an assistant who's maybe not so bright. You want to give it as much information as you can so that it does what you want it to do. So giving it a simple question like, find me some accommodation for my business trip. You want to say, I'm going to this location for my business trip. Exactly, like even the building that your conference is going to be at. You're going to say, I want to be near a pub. I want to be near a good restaurant. Um, and even then saying like what type of restaurant you consider good. So you want to be near a pizza place or you want to be near a steak restaurant. And give it as much information as you can, and then it will come out with a better answer. Otherwise, it will just like bring out like, here's a spot to stay. It could be miles from your accommodation.
Yeah.
So you've just got to, it's just that act of giving it as much information as you possibly can, giving it background and giving it exactly what you want as a result. Making sure it's not just a vague Google question and then you are searching through the answer, because it's going to do that searching for you.
Right. And I guess we see there is so much information these days, whether it's on the web, within our own businesses, this information galore,
Yeah.
and it's dissecting and going through that. So AI can help with, I guess,
Yeah.
getting through that noise a lot quicker.
Yeah, because there's so much information out there. Absolutely. So it's going to cut down on you then going through all of those Google search results. It's going to do all of those search results for you and pick out that information that it believes is relevant to your query. So that's where it's just so important to give it that good input to the start. You can, of course, like if it was a real assistant, they might come back with an answer and say, that's not what I want. You would then tell that person, go and look for, you'd give them extra information at that point. And so you can still do that with an AI tool as well. If you don't get it quite right at the start, you then have a conversation with it and give it more information, and it builds on that previous conversation that you've had with it. Eventually, you might get to where you want. But to do it quick, you've got to make sure that prompting is right from the get-go.
Nice. So I guess for businesses, we've heard of ChatGPT, and there's the likes of Microsoft Copilot now. So is one generative AI tool better than another?
Most of them use the same language model in the background. A couple of the key differences between ChatGPT and Copilot, which are probably the most commonly used ones at the moment. ChatGPT isn't actually accessing up-to-date content. Its content ends, I think it's September 2021. So if you were to ask it about some recent events, it's not going to know the answer. So if you're doing a research report or something, you want to make sure that it is accessing the most up-to-date information that you've got.
Is it just for the free version? I mean, I guess there's free and paid versions here too,
Yep,
isn't there?
that's all. Yeah, yeah. So you get extra features with extra things. I think with Copilot, you have got completely up to date access to information. You can ask it about what happened yesterday, and it's going to be able to access that. It's using the Bing search index rather than a set selection of information. Um, the other benefits you get with using Copilot as opposed to ChatGPT is this: it is Microsoft. You've got that protection of that big Microsoft company that you've already got your whole tenancy within. So that protection that Microsoft offers with the rest of your emails and all of that other document stuff that you may have within your environment, that protection is then applied to what you feed it within Copilot as well.
So hopefully, all of this AI tools through the likes of Copilot should be making us more efficient, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Once you learn how to interact with it well, you can save so much time using it to generate the first draft of a document. You give it a rough idea of what you want, and you've got that first draft within a few seconds. Um, it's obviously not going to be perfect that first time, but it gets you away from staring at that blank page and saying, how do I start this document? I know what I want to do, but you get that blank page, mind blank.
Mm-hmm.
It gets you through that, and then it's just a matter of going through and changing the bits you want changed. And you can do that with Copilot as well. You can select a paragraph and say, I don't really like that one, try again, or give it a bit more context as to what you want, and it will try and update. And then it's just a matter of refining what you get to make sure the facts are right and that it's how you want the flow to come through.
So I get this response and I go, it doesn't sound like me. It's using words
Yeah.
that I don't normally use. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
what happens then? Do I have to? Is it a matter of going through and reformatting, or
Yeah. So you can tell it to change its tone. If perhaps
right?
you want it to sound more enthusiastic, you can say that. If you want it to be a professional document or a casual document, you can tell it what tone to use and it will change the wording a little bit. Um, so yeah, you can continually interact with it and tell it to change little bits and it will adapt with the content that it's got and give you another choice.
Yeah. Now, guess what? We know here at Focus is 95% of our clients use Microsoft 365 in some way, shape, or form. So
Yep.
Copilot, again, free versus paid. There's
Yeah.
different versions they can use.
Absolutely. So the free version of Copilot will give you access to the web chat version. So you can ask it questions and you can get it to generate content from information on the web. Whereas if you have the paid version, you can have it access all of your content within the business that is stored in the 365 environment. So it can look through your SharePoint sites, your Microsoft Teams, your emails, Teams meetings and chats. It will have access to all of that content and can bring you work related answers. It can then also be implemented into all of the Microsoft applications. So you'll have a little Copilot agent within Word, within Excel, within Outlook, within your Teams. It will even summarize your meetings and give you action points as to how that meeting went. So you can actually use it within all of those day-to-day apps that you're using and save time and little bits all over the place.
Saving time's good, particularly when it comes to business and
Yes.
these days. So, I mean, I suppose as a business leader, what else should we be considering? Because I mean, when a lot of this AI come out, we were concerned that a staff member could go on and look up other people's details, or how much does
Yeah.
the CEO earn? I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
what do we need to be considering as business leaders, as business owners, in terms of introducing or allowing our team to have access to
Yeah.
AI?
Yes. So you need to make sure your environment is secure. So it is making sure that the right people have access to the right content. You need to be 100% sure that your SharePoint sites have got the right people accessing them. Really want to make sure that HR site is locked down to just the HR team and not anyone else can get a result. Copilot's not going to bring answers from anything that you do not have access to. So making sure those permissions are correct is absolutely vital.
And how do you go about that? Like, is that an easy? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of businesses will probably think that's all done now. So, I
Yes.
mean, is
Yeah.
there a checking process or?
Yes, we can run reports across your environment that will show you where there are who has access to what effectively. And although you might think that it has been done right at the start, and I'm sure it was, but there's this little feature in SharePoint and things that lets you share content.
Right.
And you might not be 100% sure that someone hasn't shared content to an external party or just another person in the organization that shouldn't actually have it. So it's really important to continually check that your permissions are still what you want them to be on a regular basis.
So, like anything, there's some potential risk there. We possibly need to look at some guidance or policy for our staff around how we go about using AI within the business. But ultimately,
Yes.
if we get those things right,
Yeah,
there should be some real efficiency gains there.
absolutely. Yeah. And depending on the person's role, you might be saving an hour a day or 10 minutes a day. It's still a good saving, depending on what that user may or may not need to do within their day. It's AI is going to help their jobs and streamline their processes.
It's a really an interesting point. It's saving time. Then I guess the question for some employees is, there's 10 staff and do you only need 8 staff or 9 staff? So is AI going
Yes.
to
Yeah.
replace roles?
It's not going to replace roles. That is a big fear that people have around AI. It's just going to help roles be more effective. So it can't do any of the really important stuff that a staff member needs to do. It's going to help with those mundane tasks, those really time consuming, monotonous things that you don't really want to do yourself anyway. You can get AI helping you do those things and let you focus more on that more meaty work that you might be doing. The really important stuff that you sometimes can't find time to because you're doing all of this other admin type that Copilot can help you get through.
Well, I guess as you said before, not just the non-important stuff, but also the stuff around when you just have that bit of a memory blank or just don't know where to start. I mean, I'm thinking, for me, how do I form a job description? I know what the job description kind of needs to look like, but I just don't know
Yes.
where to start with, or how do I
Yeah.
set my structure up?
Exactly, yes. And so Copilot can go out to the web and see what other job descriptions might look like, find out what a typical job description structure is, and then give you a really good idea. It gives you ideas of how you can then proceed. You might not like anything it comes back with, but then at least you know what you don't want, and you can then move on to something that you do want after that.
Nice. So, business owner, yep, I want my staff using AI. Is there? How do you get started in terms of training? Is
Yeah.
it just letting people get in there and have a crack, or should you start with a workshop, or
Yeah.
what's your recommendation there?
To a point, it is just letting them have a wee go with it. To start with, especially, everyone will have access to the free version of Copilot if they've got Microsoft licensing, which 98% of companies have got some form of Microsoft licensing. So a lot of people don't actually realize they've got Copilot. So they just need to go to this website, which is just copilot.com, and they would go in there. I think it's actually copilot.microsoft.com,
Right.
and they can go in there and start asking it questions. And then they'll soon see like what kind of results they might get back. Bit of training after you've started people going out and just having a look at it is absolutely worthwhile because people will tend to go into Copilot and treat it like Google. Ask it a simple question, they'll get a bad result, and they'll think, this is useless,
Yeah.
this isn't going to help me at all. So, yes, you do want them to have a play and get familiar with it themselves, but then follow that up with a bit of training on how to prompt. And Microsoft actually have a whole gallery, and when you're in the tool itself, it gives you ideas of prompts to start with. So there's a whole bunch of ideas out there for what it could possibly do for you. And having a demonstration, having someone walk you through a few features and take you through a few business scenarios is also really beneficial to those people who might use it. It just gives them an idea of what it can do.
So you can almost use Copilot to help you use Copilot.
Pretty much. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
nice.
Yep.
And so I guess it was interesting this morning before we come to this. I got an email in my inbox that said AI is changing everything. Don't get left behind. I mean,
Yes.
would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see AI everywhere now. You may not even realize you've come across it. If you've looked at a Facebook post and checked out the comments, you've got that little summary at the top of the comments of what everybody's thinking about now. It's everywhere. You will have it on your phone if you hold on down on the button, and it will say, depending on whether you've got an Alexa or a Siri, they're all AI. They're going to help you do these things. It is everywhere, and in all of those places, it's making you more efficient. My kids can ask our little Echo device, say, put some music on or play Baby Shark, and off it does it. So, yeah, anyone can use these tools, and you're probably already using it without even realizing. It's going to save time everywhere instead of having to log into Spotify and search for Baby Shark and put that on. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a positive, hearing Baby
No, I
Shark
know.
all the
It's
time in the
not.
day.
Not at all. Yeah.
Excellent. So lots we can do with AI. I guess we still don't know what the future holds in that. It's still a little bit unknown.
Hmm.
Where it's developing, it's evolving at a pace
Yeah.
way faster. Looking at some stats, the internet took 20 years to kind of really take hold, and social media was probably 5 or 6, and AI's happening within 1 or 2.
Yes.
I saw a stat, I think in the US, 72% of companies are now using AI within their business. So, yeah, again, getting started using AI is really important to, I guess, gain the efficiency that everyone else is. Otherwise,
Hmm.
it's almost at a disadvantage, right?
Yeah, you'll get left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll just become less effective than somebody who might be doing the same thing that you are doing with AI. They're going to be quicker at it because they're getting rid of those boring, mundane tasks and getting that done a lot quicker than what they can be if they're doing them manually.
Have you heard of any good examples of how a business is using AI to, I guess, to streamline, to make it more efficient? Is there anything
Yeah,
that you've heard?
meetings is a really big one. People love the function that Copilot can do within a Teams meeting. At the end of it, it recaps everything. And it's not just the transcript where you get all the ums and ahs and things that people say. It's actually summarized pieces of content nicely. So it's effectively your minutes done. So that's a whole job done. You're not having to sit there and compile your minutes afterwards. And then it pulling out those action points. And so then you've got a task list all compiled as well, and you just send it out at the end of the meeting, and everyone's got that follow up. So those people who are in meetings all day, the admin around the meetings is just gone. You can just focus on the conversations in the meeting rather than having to worry about, did you write that bit down? That was important. Yeah.
So I guess person in sales who's having lots of meetings online, or
Yeah.
someone demonstrating some software to someone, all of a sudden at the end of the meeting, they can Copilot can do
Yes.
its thing,
Yeah.
send it off to the client, and everyone's got a record of sort of what went on in the meeting. So
Exactly.
huge amount of time
Yeah,
saved.
absolutely. And next time you have a meeting with that client, you can ask Copilot before the meeting, what did we talk about last time? I can't remember. And it can refresh your mind about what you have discussed with that person, whether it was via email or whether it was in that Teams meeting. You get completely up to date with what's gone on with this other party very quickly, as opposed to having to hunt down where those last emails were and was it mentioned in a phone call or was it on an email? I know I said something about that, but so Copilot can help you find that content and prepare you for that next meeting a lot quicker as well. So you're just saving time everywhere.
So it's almost like you should be thinking around almost in everything you do about how
Yes. Yeah.
AI, how Copilot, how ChatGPT, whatever the tool is, can actually help you.
Exactly. Yes.
Nice. I really appreciate your time today, Sam.
Thanks.
I've learned a heck of a lot, and in AI it is a tool. It can't, as you say, it can't do everything for us, but it is a tool that's going to help efficiency. It's going to help us do those mundane things, but also give us some sparks of inspiration.
Yeah.
And I think, as we said, if you're not using it, that you will get left behind. So really important that we start embracing it as a tool.
Yes.
And just before we go, and I should have done this at the start, but obviously this is the digital roast.
Yeah.
What's your roast of choice?
Flat white.
Flat
Always.
white.
Yeah. Just like most of the New Zealand.
Excellent. Yeah, I'd have to say it's for me. I've gone away from the milk a wee bit, and it's a long black and just a dash of cream. So I get roasted a bit from my friends and colleagues around that, but it's certainly my roast choice. Thanks for being
No
our
problem.
first guest on the Digital Roast. So if I was to summarise today's roast with Sam around AI and using productivity tools like ChatGPT and Copilot, I'll probably use one of those tools to help me do that. ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot or whatever generative AI you want to use will help you save time. And if you're not thinking about it as a business, you should be thinking about it. And I guess that's the takeaway here today. It is easy, but you need to make a start. And you need to think about security and how that will fit within your business. So look out for episode 2 as we talk more about productivity. We'll see you at the next roast.